I am fighting the sunset. My hair's a mess because I was driving home with the windows down. It's nothing better than that. And we're just gonna do a quick and dirty early weekly wrap up. I am filming this Thursday night because I don't anticipate being able to film this weekend. So I don't know when exactly I'm gonna edit and put this up, but yeah, so just about 5 days of reading, which shockingly, I was putting my notes together and there's a lot. So let's get to it. First, the book I got this week is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. This came in from Aardvark Book Box. It's my first Aardvark box, and when I saw I Was a Teenage Slasher, I immediately had to get it. I love this cover. It is so ridiculous. I don't know if you can really tell, but that's like a dark green, and the pink is gorgeous. Nothing super exciting going on in the slipcover other than more pink and green. I do like the little Aardvark logo. I like it a lot better than Book of the Months. And just like Book of the Month, they do have a monthly bookmark. I love that it is the little Aardvark logo. And they have a quote. This week the quote says, "Dress code, dust jacket optional." And I am a dust jacket optional reader. I do not read with the dust jacket on. This comes off when I'm reading because I tend to take my book everywhere with me when I'm reading. I throw it in my bag without abandon. So yeah, and then we have the monthly card. This shows all the books that were out this month. And one reason why I really liked Aardvark and I was drawn to it versus Book of the Month, I've canceled my Book of the Month, or I'm going to cancel my Book of the Month subscription because I have skipped all but like 2 books this year, maybe 1. I got The Familiar and Passion Fruit. No, I got them in the same month. So no, I skipped all but 1 month this year. And that's because their sci-fi fantasy speculative selection has just gone down the drain. There's nothing. And I don't know if you can really see here, but out of this month's selections, 4 of the 6 were speculative in some fashion. So that was exciting. And then the other side, they have a challenge to do. So it's just really cute. And I really, really love the bookmark. And it is notched so that it kind of sits really cool in the book. So you put it up here and the notch kind of sits like over the book. So the little Aardvark logo sticks up while you're reading. Like I said, I do take my books everywhere with me when I'm reading, so I'm not going to be using this outside of the house. She's going to fall apart immediately, but I just thought it was very cute. Let me see if I can get a better look at how it situates in the book. So really, really cute. So yeah, that is the book I got this week. I haven't bought anything. I do have some anticipated releases this week, but I can't remember. I can't picture what was coming out this week and if I wanted to buy anything. So just that. Probably gonna get to this soon, I think. Alrighty, up to what I have finished since my last video. At the end of my last video, I talked about buying the Invocations and how much I wanted to read it. And guess what? I did edit that video. It took forever. It was basically just a minute under an hour long. But after I finished editing, I just sat down and read this. I read half of it that Saturday night, and then Sunday, the next day, I finished it. I loved this so much. I was shocked at how much I was enjoying it when I tried it at the store, I said last week, but I was shocked that I kept loving it the whole way through. So essentially, this is a story about it's our world, it's modern, and it's about how magic exists in this world, but it's a very specific kind of magic. So there are these things called invocations, which are individual spells that can do certain things, and a witch, a talented witch, can do really intense invocations. And our one of our main characters, Emmer, she is a witch who does invocations, and she gives them to women for free, women who desperately need them to help themselves in some fashion, usually because they don't feel safe anymore, need defense, need to run away or something. But what happens is you take the invocation, you tattoo it over your body. And one of the driving factors of the story, the main mystery, is that Emmer's past clients are being murdered and found with the invocation cut off their body. And our other two characters. This is Jude. This is Emmer here. She's the redhead. We have the redhead, the brunette, and the blonde. It's cheesy, but it does work. Emmer, then we have these other two girls. So there's Jude, who found a book of invocations, didn't know what she was doing as a teenager, did one, put it on herself, and it went horribly, horribly, horribly wrong. She tried to track down more people who can do magic. She found 2 more people. They weren't great at it, but she has like 3 invocations. The other 2 trying to help her with dealing with the first one, because an invocation attaches a demon to your soul. It takes life off your years off your life and then attaches a demon to your soul. And Jude's invocation went wrong, so the demon attached to her soul is very angry, it's starving, and it tortures her every night. The spot on her leg where she has her invocation is rotted through. Like it's really big on the body horror, especially for Jude. Now we go to Zara, who is desperately doing everything she can to see if magic is real and try to find any hint that magic is real, because she wants to resurrect her sister who died. And she is very desperate to do this because she's dealing with the grief of her sister dying and some guilt with that. And so in her mind, if she can't bring her sister back to life in some fashion, then her sister is really gone and she can't really face that grief head on. So Jude and Zara link up in some fashion, won't tell you how, and then they find clues that lead them to Emmer, and the 3 of them band together to try to help each other with their problems, although Emmer is like kind of like but then they also band together to try to figure out who is killing the witches that Emmer helped. So I will leave it at that, because a lot of the rest of it is just fun to untangle. It's fun to follow them. They're all 3 very distinct characters, which is great. I really liked all 3 girls. I thought I would like one or more than the other, but I do like all of them. They all have their highs and lows. They are all dealing with trauma, PTSD in some fashion. And it's wonderful. It's wonderfully written. It's kind of dealing with feminism and feminine rage in a way that doesn't feel like it is a like special episode story of the week about feminism or something like that. It feels natural. There are moments where, you know, they're like kind of a little on the nose, but it works with who these characters are, especially Jude. Yeah, it's sapphic, it's dark. It is darker than I thought. It is darker than I anticipated. Like, there's a lot of body horror with Jude. The whole tattooing invocations on you, the whole demons being the source of magic, the things that have happened to these girls in the past that they are just trying to survive their trauma and their PTSD and their grief is pretty dark, but it doesn't really drag you down in that way. It's just, ooh, it's moody, it's atmospheric. I fucking love this. Definitely my top 10 of the year. I am shocked at how much I enjoyed this. I have been enjoying YA less and less, but I am so glad that I think it was Beautifully Bookish Bethany who read this end of last year and really loved it. Like, it was one of her favorites of the year. And that influenced me to buy it, you know, for once, you know, like, yes, I was influenced, you know, that's what BookTube is. We're recommending books to each other. We try to influence each other to read. I'm so glad I was influenced to read this. Absolutely just loved it. I loved it so much. If any of that sounds up your alley, give it a try. If you love it half as much as I do, I will be happy. So again, that's Invocations. You can't really see the rose gold, but it's beautiful rose gold foiled edges, hardcover. The only thing I will say about this version of it is that it is very hard to hold open. It's a very stiff book, unfortunately, which made reading it a little hard because I had to keep doing this with each page. But still, it's a beautiful, beautiful edition. So happy I had a really big win this week. Just so excited. Five stars. Favorite of the year so far, definitely. Next book I finished is a novella, and that is The Practice, The Horizon, and the Chain by Sofia Samatar. Now, I picked this up because I track new releases all the time, and, you know, things interest me. My Libby My library TBR is pretty out of control. The ebook came up, I started reading it, and I figured, it's a short novella, might as well get into it. Essentially, it's a story of this spaceship, sort of a generation ship, where there are stratified levels of society. So all the way at the bottom, it's essentially in like the bowels, the mining bowels of the ship are these people who are kept in chains their entire life. All they do is mine and do mining work. They're kept in like dark conditions. They're chained together the whole time. And one of our main characters is the boy, who is one of these chained people, and he likes to draw on walls with like charcoal and stuff. And he is given a scholarship. He's just plucked out from below and brought to the next level up, which is kind of the middle of this ship. In the middle of the ship, he's brought up by this professor, and she has fought to get the scholarship to bring one of the chained up and teach them how to be higher level beings or whatever. The boy doesn't take it well, but slowly over time he gets a little better. The thing about the middle, though, is that like people like the professor, they're still chained in a way. They're not literally chained to other people, but they wear anklets that keep them electronically chained, and they can be controlled through these anklets. And then above the professor, we don't have a main character point of view for anyone from here, but there are characters around the professor, are the unchained, completely top of the society people. And so it is a story that plays with that. It plays with that within the context of academia with the professor. And it does play with this idea of how people who are chained come up with ways to live as best as they can. For the people who are chained, they kind of create this sort of mystical concept, which is the practice that has to do with the horizon. It's really hard to explain. And it's really, so she kind of studies that with the boy. And the practice and the horizon are really hard to explain because I found this book pretentious as fuck. I found it so pretentious. I hated the writing. A lot of people who review this on Goodreads call it like lyrical and wonderful and blah, blah, blah. And it's insufferable. It's just so, why one word when 10 will do? Like, that kind of stuff. Like towards the end, as things were progressing in the story, I remember reading on my Kindle, and I read around, I think, an 8-point font. And with that 8-point font, I think I went through about 3 pages. That was one single paragraph. Just fucking run-on sentence, kind of stream of consciousness thing. And, I can deal with that if the writing and the concept that is being thought through is strong. But at that point, I was just like, I don't really know what you're doing here. I kind of understand the themes you're going for, but the writing and the world building, there was no world building. It was just, there's a ship, these people are stratified, we got to do something. We got to do things because plot. And then the ending made no sense. I literally cannot tell you what happened in the ending because it made no damn sense. Like, there are parts where I just kind of don't understand how the characters got from one place to another. Literally, like, I just don't. So I don't have a lot more to say. I hated it. I hated it by the end. I should have DNF'd it, but it was a novella. It was short. I was just kind of getting through it. 1 star. I'm sorry. I found this so insufferable and pretentious. And I can enjoy a pretentious book. My bachelor degree is in philosophy, literally philosophy, and I was 1 unit away from having a declared minor in ancient history. I can be pretentious, but this was just too much. 1 star, hated it. Okay, you see how we started on a real high note with the Invocations? We're just going down. Godkiller. I started this because a couple people in my book club, we just started up a quick buddy read. I DNF'd it. I think I got about 140 pages in, so a little bit about halfway through. I DNF'd it because, okay, so there's this world, ye old fantasy world, where this land, there are gods, all kinds of gods, and this king, some kind of big war is fought, and after the war, the king turns on the gods that helped him win the war, starts killing all the gods, and then gods are outlawed, worship is outlawed. And our main character, Kissen, is a god killer. She goes around sort of like mercenary-ish killing gods. And this has been comped to The Witcher, and she is kind of like Geralt in that fashion. People don't really like her or trust her, but she still comes to a town and kills a god. And they don't like her or trust her sometimes because a lot of people still kind of worship gods in secret, and that's how gods come up, and like they still exist because they're people who are desperate to worship gods and desperate to have that kind of faith. Then another main character we have is Inara. She is a young noble girl who, for some inexplicable reason, has a god attached to her. That is Skadiseth, who also has his own interspersed point of view chapters. He's a god of like white lies. And so she kind of finds Kissen and begs her to help her figure out why she's attached to this god and to help her see if they can be separated or something. And then, so they decide to go on this pilgrimage to another land, an old city where the gods used to live. And there's another character. His name is E-A-O something. I don't care enough to remember. He is a former knight, and he was like best friends with the king, and he kind of like, after the war and the god killing happened, he left the service and became a baker and has been a baker for years. But the king comes back and asks him for help because the king is suffering from a godly curse. So he goes on this pilgrimage trying to figure out if he can do anything to help his king. And the three of them meet up during this pilgrimage and this journey, and it turns into a journey book as they're like trying to stay alive, and they band together to survive and make it to this land together. I DNF'd around when they end up having to decide that the three of them and Skadiseth are going to have to band together and make it together. And I DNF'd this because my main issue with this is that I think that Hannah Kaner has a fully realized world. She knows everything about her world. Her world building, she is completely set. My problem with this is that the writing is such that she wants you to know that she has a fully realized world in every single thing that she's telling you. Every single bit of the narrative, every single bit of descriptions, every single bit of talking, like everything. There's description everywhere. Everything is like, and it's too much. It's so much that tells you so little. Describing, it was exhausting. It's exhausting. And I love a world that just drops you in it and lets you figure things out. I don't feel like that was this world. She was explaining everything in a way where like, yeah, we have like these gods, and yeah, this town is like this, and these trees grow like this, and like these people do this. And I was tired. It was exhausting. One thing I do have to say for this is that it does have disability rep. Let me think. Kissen does not have one leg. She uses a prosthetic, and one of Kissen's like best friends. So Kissen grew up an orphan in the orphanage, and like a couple of her best friends, like they grew up together and stayed together. And one of her best friends is deaf, so she uses sign language. So there are those disability representations. It is sapphic. That's all I got. It's a beautiful cover. But I just, yeah, it was exhausting. And halfway through, and they just kind of like were on, like had finished like the first real leg of their journey, and have finally like formed this little group that I think I'm supposed to care about and find them like a found family. But at that point I didn't care. So, yeah, DNF. Unfortunate, but you know, it happens. So there's that. Okay, talking a lot. I still have more talking to do. Next thing I finished, and this was a very quick one. I was kind of shocked at how quickly I finished it. This was The Last One by Will Dean. I am very excited. Me and my husband and a bunch of our friends are taking a 7-day cruise to Alaska in September. So I'm in cruise mindset. Every day I'm thinking about the cruise, and I'm planning for the cruise, and I keep looking at videos about the cruise. We did a short 4-day cruise 2 years ago for all of our friends to test if we liked it, and we liked it enough that we're doing it again. But so I was like, oh, a thriller about a cruise where this woman is going on a cruise with her partner, and she wakes up the first morning. She wakes up and everyone on the ship is missing, and she has to figure out and survive what is going on. Now, this is a very hard one to talk about because I don't want to tell you anything other than that, because part of it was the unveiling of what's going on. Now, I will tell you that if you are kind of not feeling it, just wait until you reach a specific turning point. And if you're reading this, I promise you, you will know exactly what that turning point is when it happens. I promise. So just wait for that turning point. If you like that reveal, if you're interested in that reveal, then keep going. If you don't like that reveal, give it up. The rest of the book is not going to be for you. So I read this in like a night and a half. It was a very quick read. It was very fast paced until it wasn't. So it did a lot of the great thriller things. You know, there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of intrigue. But after a while, so much of this became just like tons and tons and tons of character backstory and exposition. And every time our main character, her narrative would kind of wander off into thinking about her family or her life or her partner and who she was missing. And it happened so much. And like, I understand that the author is trying to build a fully realized character and a connection with the character, but it was so much. And it kept saying the same thing. But there's nothing new. There's rarely anything new when the character would wander off into these narrative like thoughts. So I can't say more than that, because really, really, really you need to go into this blind as possible. Thankfully, the synopsis does not give anything away. So I gave it 3 stars. It was a good thriller. It just, I think a good 100 pages of it could have been cut out of it, mostly of the like narrative navel gazing shit that I think just really bogged it down, especially in the like back half of the book, like the 1 to the 3rd quarter of the book, I think really got bogged down incredibly hard with a lot of this narrative, introspective, navel gazing shit. So, it was a good read. Did it get me in the mood for my cruise? No, but it also didn't put me off the cruise. I will say that. It didn't scare me enough. It didn't freak me out enough to make me scared of this cruise. I'm still fucking excited. We're almost at like under 60 days. So, yeah, the last one by Wildine. I wish I could tell you more, but if you read this and you get to that one turning point reveal, you will understand why I can't tell you anymore. And, hearing that, I know that's going to be intriguing. So, you know, give it a try. See if you like it. Maybe the writing and character work will work more for you. Maybe you will like the overall plot that is happening a little more than I did. I kind of enjoyed it. A kind of part of me was like, not a lot of this makes sense. But yeah, so, decent read. It was a good thriller when I needed it, and I just kept reading. And you know, the first night I read it, I stayed up until 1 a.m., which is a horrible mistake, but you know, that's in the past now. But yeah, 3 stars. The sun is gone. It's like just not even there anymore. Currently reading. I am currently reading a service model by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Now, I have like a sort of like up and down seesaw relationship with Adrian Tchaikovsky's writing. My first book by him was Elder Race, which I fucking adored. I loved it a lot. And then I tried Ogres. I gave that 2 stars. And I tried The City of Last Chances. I DNF'd that. And the last Ogres in the City of Last Chances made me realize that Adrian Tchaikovsky is a very, very, very big ideas man. And at some points, not some points, and that tends to be to the detriment of his character work. So in Elder Race, the character work was key. And, you know, he had big ideas, but the character work was key to the story he was telling and the way he was telling the story. Here in Service Model, I am enjoying it a lot more because the character is the story, if that makes sense. So essentially this is a story of a future world where robots are ubiquitous. They're there in every single aspect of life, and we follow the perspective of this one robot who is a valet to his master, but then one morning he murders his master and he doesn't know why, and things just kind of unfold from there. And this is surprisingly funny. I was shocked to find how funny this was, because part of what Tchaikovsky is doing is, first of all, it's from the perspective of the robot. So he has to show everything from the perspective of a robot who doesn't quite understand human interaction. So he's walking this fine line between having a completely devoid of personality robot, but also walking a fine line to being like, oh, you know, if he did this, if he felt this, if he thought like this, he would feel this. But then slowly, I think what's going to happen is maybe the robot is going to have more human traits, but I don't quite know. I'm intrigued. This is definitely already way better for me than Ogres and City of Last Chances. So super happy that I have a good Tchaikovsky again. After this one, I do want to finally read Children of Time, so we'll see how that goes. But this one, idea and character are meshing really well, and I'm so happy that I'm enjoying it. I am reading it on audio. Adrian Tchaikovsky narrates it himself, and he's actually a very good narrator. He does different types of British accents very well. I was shocked, actually, at how good he is. But the man is a freaking writing machine, so of course he can be a good narrator for his own books. So yeah, reading Service Model. I haven't really picked anything else up. Yeah. So I do have like 15 volumes of manga out from the library. We'll see if I read that this weekend. Who knows? The light's gone. The lighting in here is garbage now, so I am going to wrap it up. K-pop Song of the Week is going to be 2024 release. I'm going to say, why am I thinking through this so hard? Like, this is just music I love. I don't really care if you like it or not. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, it's not to your taste. So I am going to say TNX. Oh my God, the new 6. Yeah, TNX Fuego. This came out this year and it is a banger and I love it. So that link is down below. Links to all of my social media is down below. Please join me on Goodreads if you do have Goodreads. I am on there all the time. And thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye.